Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap To Roam for Love, Season 1, Episode 6, which was titled Lust or Love. So Diane and her team are interviewing guys because until she knows that someone in the house has made a love connection, she says that her work isn't done and she wants to make sure if somebody is in need of a date or if something isn't working out, that they have some guys lined up. So it's the morning after the picnic and the ladies are out for, I guess they went out to get breakfast. And so they tease Mercedes about Kwame, and she admits that she really likes Kwame, and that after they went to dinner, they made out. Now, I don't know what made out mean. Did they have sex, or did they just kiss, or what was going on? But then later in the day, you know, she's kind of moping over the fact that Kwame is an atheist, and she feels like, you know, she's not going to have any luck in love because she keeps running into these guys who do not believe the same thing that she believes. So Shay and Nikita are at the house, and Shay admits that she showed her behind the night before, you know, the way that she was treating Roberta, you know, screaming and carrying on. So Shay says that there are 5 versions of her, and that the night before she was on version number 4. And so I would hate to see what version number 5 looks like if number 4 was you just acting totally out of control. And she admits that the reason she's been so moody and acting crazy is because her girlfriend is coming to visit, aka she's about to get her period. So she says that she was glad that Roberta finally came around and that they were able to go out and have a good time, but she doesn't like the fact that she had to go through all that she had to go through to get him to see things her way. So Nikita says that her biggest concern is her hair, and that she need to go find her weaveologist, and that she didn't think about, you know, all that black women have to go through with their hair, and that she may need some assistance while she was over there in Rome. But she had to figure something out because she said what she had going on just wasn't working. So Shay is going on a date with the other guy, Emilio, and they are going to play tennis, and then afterwards they are going out to dinner. So Diane feels that it is time for Shay to make a decision on which one of these men that she wants. And the way Diane was talking was like Shay had a whole bunch of men running behind her, but I thought it was just Emilio and Roberta that she was trying to choose between. So Lord, Shay says that she has never played tennis before, so they done met up for their date. They out there on the tennis court. She dressed all cute, and they're, you know, going back and forth, and they actually have a guy there that's like hitting balls with them and talking, you know, talking them through the process. Well, talking Shay through the process, because I think Emilio, he knows a little bit about tennis, but she seems to be totally enamored with him, and I just don't find him cute at all. So I don't know what Shay is talking about, but maybe you know, maybe it doesn't take much to please her. So so she's kind of complaining about the whole tennis date and saying that she thought it was going to be more of him like coming up behind her and holding on to her and showing her how to swing the racket and hit the ball, you know, but he was serious about the tennis. And I'm like, yeah, because tennis really is a fun sport, and I played tennis a little bit in high school. I took some courses when I first went to college, straight out of high school. But let me tell y'all something. My sciatica went out of whack one night when I was on the tennis court, and I was like, how am I going to get back home? Like, I literally had walked to the tennis court, so I was like, oh my God, I was in so much pain. Now my daughter, my youngest daughter, she has played tennis since she was about 6 or 7 years old, and she actually went to college on a full tennis scholarship. So I love me some tennis, and as a matter of fact, next month we're going down to Miami for the Miami Open, which is something my daughter and I do together all the time. So Shay, just hang in there, you know, and when you get back to the U.S., take you some tennis lessons. It's great exercise. It's a lot of fun, and that is a good way to meet some really good guys. May not be any black guys that you meet, but definitely the rich white men be out on the tennis courts, and that seems to be something that you're comfortable with. So hey girl, get on the courts when you get back home. So on the way to dinner, Shay asks Emilio, you know, about his past relationships, and we learned that Emilio is married. And he's been married for 13 years, but him and his wife broke up, and that his wife is already dating somebody else, but it's going to take like 6 months for them to get their divorce. And I guess it's hard to get a divorce over in Rome, in Italy, I guess. And somebody actually posted on Twitter that you couldn't even get a divorce over there until like 1970 or the early 70s, so that, you know, Shay shouldn't hold it against him that he's married. But I say, anytime a person is still married, all bets are off, because anything can happen. They can decide to reconcile. I just don't even think that a person is ready to be in a serious relationship that soon after getting out of a relationship. And then when you're dealing with the whole divorce thing, that just makes it even more like they just aren't ready. I would never date somebody who had just gotten a divorce or who had just separated. Well, I would never date somebody who was separated. Like, you need to be divorced, the paper signed, and then there needs to be some time that has passed since the time that the divorce became final. So after he tells her this, she seems a little taken aback, but not enough to kind of like pump the brakes on the date. So then she starts telling him about her daughter and being a single mom, a teen mom, and everything. And she's surprised that he's not turned off by this revelation. And she says that in the United States, she would be considered a statistic. So it's like, that is very, very true, Shay. But when they first arrive to the restaurant, Emilio places the order for them, and he's ordering in Italian. So actually they were having that conversation on the way to the restaurant. So when they get to the restaurant, there was nobody in the restaurant, but Shay seemed to be very impressed by it and saying that it was upscale and a nice place. But Emilio places the order for them, and he's speaking in Italian, so she has no clue what he's ordering. And I'm thinking, but you're a chef, shouldn't you know what he's talking about? And I think she actually asked the waiter for the menu so she could look at the menu, I guess, so she would know what they were ordering. And then I think she made some comment about she said that she's impressed with Emilio and he's really polished, but she needs to bring the hood rat out of here. I'm thinking that you left the hood rats in America. Why would you want to go over to Rome to bring the hood to Rome and put it in a guy that you're trying to get to know, who's the opposite of what you left behind you? Shay, you kind of, I was trying to stand up for you in the previous episodes, but girl, you kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But in the middle of dinner, Shay asks him again. She needs clarification on the divorce, so he lets her know that he can't sign the papers for the divorce for another 6 months. And so she was like, okay, you know, it won't be final for another 6 months. I'll be back in the U.S. and none of this will make a difference anyway. So then all of a sudden, Shay starts talking about sex and asking the man, like, how long it had been since he'd had sex. And I think he said that it's been a year since he had sex, and she just couldn't believe that. And she asked him, does he masturbate? And the guy was like, well, I'm really not used to having conversations like this with people that, you know, I'm dating. Like, why are you all up in my Kool-Aid? But Shay says she gonna have to change some things. And she's really acting like a guy, like she's now challenged. Like, oh, I'm gonna make him have sex with me to prove that I'm the one. I don't know what she was thinking about, but I was just like, girl, you gonna turn that man off running your mouth. Earlier in the day, Ashley had went out to get some hamburgers and french fries for her and Mercedes. And when she came back, she ran into this guy named Alejandro. And so Alejandro was a black Cuban, because I thought he was black. And then he mentioned later on that he was Cuban. And so she offers to give him her phone number. She was like, oh, let me put my number in your phone. And then Brother Man had two phones. So right there was a red flag to let him go on by his business. But she thought he was so cute and so fine, and she couldn't believe that he was attracted to her, that she overlooked the fact that he had two phones and gave him the number. And he says, well, I'll call you, we'll go out on a date later on. So Ashley is so horny and about to send the man a text asking him. So she was using like some kind of translation app. And whatever she entered in that app, it came out to be, are you interested in having sex with the Black American woman? So, like, what is wrong with them? So the ladies decide to go to a sex shop to kind of release some of their frustrations, because I guess they all going through it. So Nikita says that it's been 7 months since her dry spell been going on, that she ain't had sex. So on the way to the sex shop, Claudio texts Gina to tell her that he was thinking about her and he wants to see her again. So she seems to be happy about this. And, Gina low-key, we don't even know why she's still on the show. So at the sex shop, the ladies are being silly and playing around, with the different toys and stuff. And so they get like a horse whip, what the jockeys be beating the horse with. And so they test beating the horses with. So they're testing the little whip thing out on each other. I was like, okay. So back at the house, the ladies are sitting around talking, and Mercedes, we learn, really isn't ready to give up on Kwame. And she lets the ladies know that she had talked to him earlier, and he said that he had to do some studying. So she told him to come over, she would help him with his studies. And then Nikita says that she isn't really feeling Angelo's sincerity, that she thinks he's just, being a clown, I guess, and not really liking her the way that he's pretending to like her. And then later on, Kwame arrives, but he has no books. So I was like, Kwame, don't turn out to be a trip. So Kwame got game, but I still like him and think that, he might be a good one for Mercedes. And Mercedes is still trying to say that, she needs a brother that's into God, and that she's going to have to convert Kwame. So Kwame got jokes, and Mercedes is drinking the Kool-Aid. So they are like talking and everything, and getting along okay. He told her he was just playing about the studying, and she was letting him know that she was serious, that she had some cue cards and all that stuff ready for him. So they're on the sofa talking, and she gets to ministering to the man, and she says that she prayed to God about a man that she was dating, and that it was on Palm Sunday. And 5 hours after she said the prayer, asking God, if this isn't the man for me, take him away, that the guy called and broke up with her. So I think that's I think they call that speaking stuff into the atmosphere, that what you put out, you will get back. So since you really wanted to break up with the guy, that's why the guy called and broke up with you. So she keeps talking about God, and Kwame says that, he doesn't mind going to hell because Michael Jackson would be there. And people on Twitter didn't really appreciate that comment. But eventually, he says that he has to go. So I think Mercedes kind of like warmed down with the God talk. He wasn't over there to hear that. He wanted to spend some quality time with her and not be preached to. So then Alejandro shows up to take Ashley out, and she is already like head over heels over this brother. And this is when he told her, that he was Cuban, and he said that he was an only child, and that him and his mom moved to Rome when he was like 16 years old. And he says that he doesn't have a relationship with his dad, and he hadn't seen his dad since he was like a little kid. And then Ashley says, well, that's something we have in common, because I don't know who my father is. And she says she feels kind of cougarish because Alejandro was only 27 years old, and I guess she's like 32 or 33. So they seem to hit it off, good conversation. But I think that Alejandro just wants to have sex with Ashley. And so when they got back to the house, he showed her that was all he wanted, so they grinding and not hunching, but, hunching, when you rubbing and feeling all on each other. But Ashley was strong and told him, no, we can't do this. So Alejandro leaves and, she kisses him goodnight and everything. And I'm like, girl, I'm so glad that you ain't trying to go in the alleyway and have sex with that man. So there is no date day for the girls, and Diane has decided that she's going to go to the house and have one-on-ones with the girls to see where they are. So her, Cece, and Micah go to a butcher shop to get food for her to take to the house. And that was like a funny little scene because Micah is about as dense as the ladies are when it comes to, the whole Italian thing going on. And at the house, Shay tells Diane about Emilio and how excited she is. But she did not, I don't think she told Diane that the man was married. But she obviously sees him as a challenge. That's what I think it's going to boil down to. And I'm not sure after their conversation if Emilio is still going to be into Shay. So I'll be interested to see how he reacts to her in the upcoming episodes. So then Diane asks Shay about Roberto. Was like, okay, y'all been having a good time at the picnic. What happened? You haven't even mentioned him. So we find out that Roberto texted Shay and said that he was looking for something more open. So Shay took that as he wanted to have an open relationship and be free to date other people. So she tells Diane about the night before, and Diane, is concerned that her drinking may be the reason why Roberto broke things off with her. And she tells Shay that, she needs to deal with her drinking if alcohol alters her personality and turns her into a different person. So then we go over to Ashley, and so Ashley spills the tea about the date with Alejandro, and she's excited, about the prospects of, the two of them being together. And she's telling, how he opened doors for her, he paid for the date and treated her like a queen, but swept the part about how he wanted to screw her under the rug. She just didn't even bring that up. So Diane is happy that she and Mercedes have met men on their own, but she's just concerned that they might not be the right men. And I was just thinking, the people on Twitter was going in on Ashley, how Ashley was just so impressed by the way Alejandro, treated her. And they were like, okay, well, what kind of man you dating over in the United States if you were just that excited that the man opened the door, pushed the chair in, pulled the chair out, paid for the date? Like, you must be dating some real scumbags. Diane reminds the ladies that they only have 2 weeks remaining, and she asks Nakia about Angelo, and she says that, he is definitely in the friend zone after the behavior the night before. And then we get a clip, because remember on the last episode, they had left Angelo in the living room in that chair, and he was singing and carrying on. Well, I guess he got up off the sofa and made his way into the kitchen and was hunching all up on Roberto and dancing all around the kitchen. So yeah, we don't need to see no more of Angelo. So Diane, is okay with her not wanting to see him anymore because she said that she only introduced Nikita to Angelo to get her out of her shell and out of her comfort zone and make her feel, wanted and appreciated. Then the conversation turns to Mercedes, and Diane points out that she finds it interesting that all the men that Mercedes is attracted to do not believe in God, and that's the one thing that Mercedes keeps harping on that the man has to have. So then Mercedes breaks down and she tells the women that she believes so much in God because of all that she's been through in her life, and that they have no idea what all she's had to deal with. And so I'm thinking that the dad, because she was saying something about when they had to move or something, so maybe the mother and the father ended up getting a divorce, and so that changed their lifestyle. And I'm still wondering with the dad and all those kids, like, who was he having all them kids with? Like, maybe he was caught up in a scandal or something where he was messing with one of his students, got one of the students pregnant or something. I don't know. Or maybe Mercedes is going to come out and say that she was molested or raped or something like that. But she confessed that she closes herself off from people because she doesn't want to relive what she's been through. And it's not so much that she's religious, it's just that she knows that when she starts talking about religion to guys, that makes them kind of like turn away, and then she doesn't have to go through rejection and hurt. But Kwame doesn't seem to be all that turned off about her talk. Well, I think he was turned off that the evening was ruined because she was talking about religion. but he strikes me as the type that eventually he's going to tell her, hey, I really like you, but you got to stop with the religious talk. Like, it's got to be more to you than that, and that's the parts that I want to get to know. So guys, let me know what you thought about this episode. Leave your comments below, rate the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I hope everyone has a wonderful week. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.